Hi, I'd like to just do this short video about buying IP addresses. Now, everybody connected to the internet has basically two IP addresses, an internal IP address and an external IP address. The internal IP address can be found assigned to your network card or whatever device you use to connect to the internet. It might be your wireless connection. And let me just show you my internal IP address here under internal. Okay, it's 192.168.1.16. Okay, this is an internal IP address. It might be that yours is assigned automatically, and that's maybe from a wireless connection. It uses a system called DHCP to give you an IP address in a range that it can use. Basically, these IP addresses are pretty much irrelevant when you're on the internet. If you want to buy an IP address, you won't use it here, okay? It has zero effect on what you browse, on what you can access. So if you wanted to go and access a media site in a different country, changing that internal IP address won't have any effect. What you need to do is to buy an IP address that is public facing, okay? Your internet facing IP address. Now, the problem is the external IP address is assigned by your ISP, and you haven't got any control over that unless you own your ISP, I guess. It's basically allocated when you connect, so your modem or your router or your switch that's connected to the internet will get this IP address from your internet service provider. You cannot change it, okay? So, for instance, I'm in the UK. I get a IP address assigned from my ISP. And let me just show you. Because I am in the UK, I can't get access to something like Hulu. Okay, so all the US sites will block me because I'm not in the United States. So I've got a US IP address. How do I buy a US IP address? How do I change this? Well, you can't change your IP address. What you can do is hide your real IP address and use a fake one, or a false one if you like, okay? You can hide your location. And you don't really need to buy one IP address because now there are a couple of systems available on the internet that can give you access to a whole bunch of IP addresses, okay? Now let me just close these down to demonstrate. The program I have been using for many years is a security program that does this, okay? It sits in my taskbar, but I can also use it on a phone, a tablet, a laptop. But I'm just showing you the PC version here. And basically, it sits in there, and I've got access to loads and loads of servers all over the world, each with individual IP addresses. Now I can connect to these at any time, and effectively that will then become my IP address. Basically, all my traffic will get routed through that server and to the website in question. So let me just show. I couldn't access Hulu as I demonstrated a minute ago. Let's go and select a US IP address. Okay, all these are included in my subscription. So I've connected to a US one now. Let me just go and start Firefox. I'll use a different browser because when you change your IP address in one session, it sometimes gets a bit confused and caches it. So just for this demonstration, I'll go and use a different browser here. I'm going to go to Hulu now, like I did before, and let's watch something here. What's this program? The Bachelorette. And I'll click on it, and you can see now it streams perfectly well, okay? I'm going to pause that now because Hulu tends to block your videos if you show too much of their content. And that's basically it. Hulu now looked at my US IP address because I've used one of Identicloaker's other addresses. I've now got a US IP address. I could go back and change to a UK one, an Irish one, an Australian one, a Canadian one, wherever I want. I'm effectively buying access to their network, and I can choose a different IP address at will. All the time, my real IP address is hidden. Nobody can see it. It actually also encrypts your connection, so nobody can see what you're downloading and doing online as well, although you can turn that encryption off if you want. Okay, so that's an example of how I buy a new IP address, and it works very well. Identity Cloaker, there's a voucher somewhere on this screen. You can get 15% off, or just give it a trial a go. It's a brilliant program, and I'll finish now. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.